Hello and welcome to another video. In today's video we're going to take a look at all of my portable mini disc players. And I've got some batteries and a disc so we can have a look at all of them in operation. I'm also going to put links in the video description box for each of these units, linking to my older videos where I received them. So first of all we're going to start with this one, the Sony MZ-R30. This one is the one I use to burn most of my playlists, most of my mini discs, which I've probably got up nearly 100 now, maybe something like that. The battery is an original battery and it still works. No disc in it at the moment. So this is a really nice machine. I get people who ask me about this type of machine, and people just generally love them. It plays really well. It's one of the original players. It's really quite heavy, but it is really quite a nice player. There's like a jog wheel where you can title tracks fairly easily with it if you don't want to use a computer. But really nice disc, a really nice mini disc player, should I say? And it's got some record buttons. It's a recorder as well. I don't think I've got the remote for it. Not that I've ever needed it. Because it's got quite a nice display on it. And this one looks, I used to have this on top of one of my bookshelf units to do my recordings on. It looks really good when it's just sitting on top of a bigger stereo. No idea how long this video is going to last, because there's obviously a lot of players to go through. There's the battery. So it's the original battery. The replacements for these are very hard to get and very expensive. It's got some sort of weird configuration with the connectors on the back, but my guess is this has a standard 18650 inside it. So if I had a 3D printer, I'd probably be making an adapter for this. So next up is the Panasonic we're looking at here. Now this one is in a tatty box, but it is boxed, and this one lives in my car because I've actually got two complete units for this. So I'll just show you the inside of this. It's got a few discs I've made, a speaker set, and the player in there. But I'm going to come on to this one in more detail because it's there in my box and it's easier. I don't want to get all of this out. But this lives in my car just in case I'm out and about. And I have used it in the past, so if I'm out and about and I decide I need some music for a walk or something I'm doing, then this is the one that lives in the car. And it's always got a fully charged gumstick battery. Okay, so let's have a look at this. This was a subject of a video recently. It was a grubby MZ-G750. This one has AM/FM radio supposedly built in, but it's actually on the remote control, and I don't have the remote control for it. But it wasn't working when I first bought it, and then I got it working, but I think since then it has ceased to work again. So let's see if it's going to give us any life. And I think this was the problem before, it wouldn't actually play. This is a quick voiceover from when I'm editing this video. There were actually two attempts at making this video. The first one I had to abandon because there was too much noise locally. But when I was doing the first shoot, this player did work. So I'm going to edit in the footage from that first shoot for this player. And then we'll go back to the second shoot, which I managed to finish. And I managed to get this player working again at the end of the video shoot just by constantly pressing play until it worked again. A delivery and cleaning video I did. Where's my battery gone? There it is. It was pretty grubby and needed a bit of repair. Oh, I left the battery in it. There we go. So, but now it's working fine. It's got some. Bit noisy though. It does seem to work. But nice player that. Right, so this one is one that is currently probably a bit dusty because it's sitting on my desk. I've got this hooked up to my Sony Scala S2 system, which doesn't have a mini disc player on it. And again, this is a AA battery one, which is quite handy because I've got quite a stock of batteries to use, which are part used. Again, this has a slight problem that sometimes the button doesn't work first time. You have to press another button first, and I'm getting a feel for why that is. A really nice player, nice display on this one. It's a MZ N707 and it's type R, so it records type R, so I think that's one of the latest recording systems they used, which gives even better quality recordings than earlier systems. But really nice player. So I've got a grey one of these down here. In fact, let's have a look at that one straight away. I always wanted the blue one. The blue ones are much harder to come by. And there's the grey one. And I've got one remote control for these, so if I do need it. Oh, the stop button's not working. So on all the discs I use on this, I have the right protect and the stop button isn't working. And I think this is an ongoing problem with lots of Minidisc players, or lots of Sony ones anyway, whereby I wonder if that battery's a bit dead. And I learnt this from SJ-M4306, but I didn't know what it really meant. These buttons work on a resistive ladder. So there's not, and when I was repairing a bookshelf system, I actually saw the circuit board on this and the buttons, how they have one positive track and then the button makes a connection between that and the negative track. And that's where I fully understood what a resistive ladder is. So when you press these buttons, each one of these buttons isn't connected directly to the chip inside the player with a single lead, if you like. They're all connected together, but they're separated by the button. When you press the button, it makes the connection, and the button is a resistor. So each one of these has a different resistor. So it's not the fact that this button will make a connection, it's the fact that this button will make a connection of a certain resistive value. So not only have you got to keep the button contacts clean, but you've also got to have the ribbon cable, which goes in the side here, clean when it goes into the circuit board. I'll do a video about this at some point, but this one was working and again has failed. I wonder if it's my battery. I'm going to get a fresh battery. No, I can't get any life out of this even with the remote control on it. So, this is frustrating. So, some of these players don't get used very often. I put a fresh battery in it and that didn't seem to make any difference. So, it used to be the one I had on my desk until they got the blue one. And then when I got the blue one, I swapped it out. So it was working last time I used it. So that one is working, or was working. Again, this one, the start button, is the only button that's not 100% reliable. There we go. So a nice little remote on that as well. I don't think I put a disc in it, did I? So they are really nice units and usually quite reliable, but I guess I'm going to have to be fixing that grey one. Right, this one is part of a kit that I put together which goes in my go bag, and I'll probably do a video about this, maybe within a couple of months. So this is so light, this one. Let's have a look at the disc. I'll put the disc on top of it. Look how small that is. How the hell? It's almost too small to fit the mini disc in it. This is like a marvel of miniaturization, and it's so light. I think it weighs about 80 grams without the battery in it. So the disc just barely fits in it. There's no screen on the front, that's how you get it so light. But I think I've got the right remote for it here. Please let this one work. Backlit remote. When I use this, I don't often use the remote because I just listen to the tracks on the mini disc. You skip forwards like that, and you've got volume up and down, and your headphones go in there, in that one there, and the stop button. But yeah, really reliable, this one. It's got all the functions you need on the player, but I'll probably do a video about this little kit I've put together that goes in my go bag, so when I'm going out I can just grab the bag and I've got a full set of some mini discs, a couple of playlists to listen to, and a charged battery. Okay, next up is one that you see quite a lot on eBay, the MZ-E62. basic player. I think this one's got a battery in it. Yeah, this one's got a rechargeable battery in it, not that you can recharge it in the unit, but it's one my daughter uses. I think I've got a remote for this as well, so let's see if we can get it. Oh, there's a disc in there already, might as well leave that one in there. And where's that remote gone? Oh, there it is. So there's no display on this one. I actually love the design on this, look at that. So you can pick these up quite cheaply on eBay without the remote. You don't really need the remote, but it's nice if you've got one. I think this is the remote for it anyway. So let's see if there's any juice in that battery. I think this is twist. What do you do? Can't remember how to use the thing. 1 second. We'll go on to all the keys you need are on the back anyway. There we go. Yeah, the battery's probably flat in that one. Let's put the new battery in. Yeah, my daughter thought she'd lost it, but it was just in a drawer somewhere that she couldn't find. So I went hunting for it and found it, of course. There we go. So that is the play. Sorry about the focusing. There we go. See if we can focus in on that one. It's a bit noisy, but it's very functional. Neil Sedaka. So I think you skip forward tracks. That's it. You push it that way to skip forward tracks. That way to skip back tracks, and your headphones go in there. So yeah, these are quite reliable. I didn't have to fix this one, I don't think. I don't even remember doing a video. If there's a video about this one, it will be in the description box. Okay, moving on to this one. This is a Japan exclusive one that I picked up. I can't remember where I got it. It would have been eBay probably. It wasn't given to me by someone else. But this one was on my desk for a long while because it's got this fancy little stand. So it does charge. Is that the right remote? Yeah, it is. So let's put a battery in it and a disc. Now these batteries are nickel metal hydride. And I didn't have the correct charger for this, but I've got a Panasonic charger that does work on it. So you just drop it in the dock like that, and the charging light comes on. Standard play only, no long play on this one. So I used to keep it connected with the headphones, and then I'd have the headphones coming out of here, or that going into an amp and using it as a line in. So I'd play it like this, and I'd take it out of there, do my normal stuff walking around, and then come back and just drop it in. But what I realised was the battery was being killed by the charger. So what I think it is, NiCad batteries have a different charging profile. You have to charge them at different rates. And I think this one is this charger, this base, or the charger, whether the charger's in there or in there, is only for NiCads. So it was trying to charge my nickel metal hydride batteries with a NiCad profile, and the battery after several weeks would not hold much charge again. So I stopped using this for that purpose. But I suppose if you had a NiCad battery, then it would work. And it doesn't give you a lot of power. I think this battery is charged. It looks like it's flat, but it runs for absolutely ages like that. But I do like it. Basic player. Ideal for just like grab and go. If it's sitting on charge on the desk, then you can just grab it and take it with you and then plonk it back in the dock when you come back and it will charge again. The significance of that is I've got standard players which only play up to 74 or 80 minutes of music on the disc, depending on the capacity of the disc. So this one's a 74. And there's long players which will do twice or 4 times that amount. So I've got these little yellow stickers here. These are for standard play, and the blue ones are for long play. So it's just easy to remind me when I'm putting the battery in, this one is only going to be good for the disc recorded at standard play. So most of these players do get used at some point. A little while ago I had a situation where I had a player for my desk, a player for walking around the house, a player for using outside, or maybe 2 or 3 players on the go, and I could never remember which ones had the batteries and which discs which playlists were in each player. So what I decided to do was use one player at a time. So I'd have, with the exception of this goes in my go bag, and this one goes in the car. I'd have one player that I'd use at a time, with some specific players for specific jobs. So this one's the one that sits on my desk at the moment. So this is my daily driver, if you like. It plays through my Sony La Scala system when I want it on an amp, and when I want to pick it up and walk around the house, I just plug headphones in and off I go. But some of these players haven't been used for a while. Now this was one of the, this one's a really unusual one. This was part of the Tecmo 15 bundle, as I call it, which were the players that Tecmo was going to throw out, and he kindly sent to me, and I managed to repair a few of them. So I think this is Japan only. You can pretty much tell by the writing on there. It's got a really funky mechanism. So this is standard play only, and the disc insert mechanism is really weird. It sort of goes in there. There's, how do you do it? I can't remember now. Yeah, it's sort of, it's really quite hard to do. There's like an eject button there, which opens it up a little bit. I think you can, yeah, let me see if I can do it without dropping it. You put your disc edge on there and just push. So I'll show you that again. It's a very weird mechanism. It's sort of upside down unless you're left-handed. So you put the disc edge on there and push, and it pushes the disc drawer open. Now there's no display on this one, but it does work. So let's pop a compatible, there we go, that's a compatible one I think. But it has got the buttons on it, so you've got a volume button there, and you've got volume button there, and play, stop, forward and rewind, or skip forward and skip back. Oops. And he says it works, but I haven't used it for some time. Did I put a battery in it? Because they do tend to work much better when you put the battery in it. There we go. Are we going to get lucky with this one? You can probably hear it there. Yep, there we go. So yeah, I was pleased to get this one working because it wasn't working when I first got it. Okay, I must remember to take the battery and the disc out. There we go. It's got a really weird mechanism for removing the disc. It's almost like it's not working properly. Right, battery out, so don't leave any batteries in any of these. And then let's move on to the next one. Okay, so this one is the cheapest mini disc player I could find on eBay. All of the videos about all of these players are in the description box below if you want to watch those later. So this one, I can't remember now, was it £15 plus postage, something like that? Obviously not working when I first got it, and there were a couple of repair videos on it to get it working. I do like the fact that it's got a window in it, which looks blue, but is actually sort of transparent. And then when you put your disc in, you can see the disc, depending on the colour of the disc, you can sometimes see the disc spinning in the window. And again, you don't need a remote for this. In fact, I don't have a remote for this one. But I quite like this one. It's a beaten up old player. I don't know if you can see the disc in there. You go. It's a beaten up old player. I've also experimented with using car body paint, touch-up paint on it, but that didn't really work out. So I have a project in mind for this one. But this one gets used quite a lot in the summer. Because it's already beaten up, I don't care if it gets even more scratched up. So this is the one I use when I'm in the garden, sitting down or laying down on the sun lounger. And I think it actually works. I've got a remote for this as well, yeah. So I don't mind if I put this down on a concrete patio and it gets scratched. So I'm very careful with my technology usually, not to make it look any worse than it previously did. But this one I don't care so much because it was very cheap. It didn't work. And where's the... it's got different... there we go. So I don't really mind so much if this one gets broken. or scratched up even more. It's sort of my the one you would throw in your backpack or something like that and take around with you. Purely functional. It's good for listening to music, and I don't care what it looks like or if it gets scratched up. But quite a nice. I bet they look great, but they sort of degrade over time. They get really sticky and the paint flakes off. So anyway, cheap player, a good score. I like a success when you buy a cheap player, get it working, and it becomes useful again. So almost all of these players were broken when I got them. I'm not sure whether that's the right remote for this. It could be. But this one is one that I was having a chat with a couple of different people in the comments about. I think I've left the battery in one of these somewhere. These ones are quite noisy, and you can make them a little bit less noisy by cleaning up the and lubricating the worm gear that the sled runs on. But this one didn't work at all when I first bought it. It's got a really nice display on this one. You could probably hear how noisy that is there. It's having a bit of trouble reading the disc. Oh no, there it goes. So it's still a bit noisy, but it does play. So this one has been my sort of carry around the house type of player. It does run on AA batteries. And it's actually, by all accounts, quite a good recorder. MZ-R70. Standard play only, but that's fine. Most of my discs are on standard play. I'm not sure whether this is the right remote for it. Let's plug it in and see what happens. Usually I keep the remote with the unit, so sorry about that. Let's have a look. If it is the right remote, I've never used. It is the right remote, but I've never used this with a remote. Why would you use that remote? I suppose if you're outside, you could pop, and it's cold because it's getting to autumn now in the UK. You could put this in your pocket, inside jacket pocket, and run the remote somewhere, and then just keep this. This is it on your inside pocket, and this one could go in the pocket where your hands are to keep your hands warm. Yeah, it's quite a nice player. It's just a shame that the track title only takes up a small proportion of the display. It'd be nice if this was all shoved over there a little bit, and you've got more of the track title scrolling across. Okay, time to move on. This one's a nice little player, Panasonic SJ-MJ50. These came in a range of colours. I think is that the 50 as well? Yeah, MJ50. So that's one. So that one is that one, and this one is a different one from the same range. But I don't think it fits in the dock. Anyway, it's got like a weird lever here for the eject mechanism, but that's just for eject. To insert the disc, you simply push it down, and that flap, let's take that out and show you again, this flap folds inwards. Don't know whether you can see that. So as you put your disc in, it gets out of the way and then lifts the front of the case up. Nice player again. You've got the controls on there, very light player. Don't really need to use it with a remote control, but you can. And when it is working, if I can find the on button, which is there I think, you get a nice blue LED on the top. So I've used this quite a bit around the house as well, and probably outside the house. I've probably gone for walks with this because it's so lightweight, and I haven't done a lot of that. Generally I'll put my fairly decent Bluetooth earbuds on and I'll go for a walk with my phone, one of my phones. But I really want to get back into the mini discs. I've sort of taken a detour into cassettes, as you might have noticed, which I've quite enjoyed. But I want to get back into burning more mini disc playlists and using mini discs more often out and about, because they are portable. That's kind of the point. Okay, moving on to this one. This one's a bit fancy, isn't it? SJ-MR250. Now I haven't got the dock, but this came with a really nice dock. And I think had buttons on the front that you can title up discs with. So let's pop a disc in and a battery. haven't got a remote for this one, but I don't really need one because all the buttons are on the front. Again, this was one of the 15, the Tecmo 15. That battery's a bit flat now. Is it going to work? It usually works. So I had to reshoot a bit of this because the battery was a bit flat and it was having trouble reading the disc. But there it is, look at that. And it does actually look like that. That shadow you get is not just it's not just because of the camera, but it actually looks like that in real life. So it's a really nice big display. Dot matrix display, but the scrolling of it isn't very good. So nice display, but badly implemented, I think, in terms of what it looks like when you're scrolling. I do like that. I've never seen a display quite like this before, and that's why you don't need a remote on it, because all the functions you need are on the unit itself. So it's an NDLP, so this will play long play discs as well. But quite a nice player. I'm pretty sure it's this remote that works with it anyway. But like I said, I don't bother with the remote when I'm using this unit. So yeah, quite nice. Again, a gumstick battery one. I think the gumstick batteries that I use, which are these Vapex ones, they're not designed for Minidisc. They're designed for vaping pipes or whatever they call them. But they do work with Minidisc, but I don't think they're quite as powerful as the original batteries that came with quite often with the Sony units. Okay, so this one here this one has been fixed again. Same problem as the others with the buttons not working. So what you would do is you'd plug in your disc, you put your disc in and your battery. You'd press play and play. So I've got this on hold. So you'd press play and it would maybe go fast forward, and then you press stop and it maybe start record. So what I did was I put a note on there saying right protect before use, and I constantly keep the remote control connected now. So on here on the remote control you've got a hold button just there. So on the remote control you've got a hold button just there, which only holds or stops the functions of the buttons on the remote. And then on this unit you've got a hold button just there, which only stops the functions of these buttons. So if I press play here, it probably won't even say hold now. Yeah, it says hold. So these buttons are a bit flaky, and I think it comes back to this resistive ladder thing. So what I was doing was cleaning the ribbon in this, cleaning the ribbon that connects the control panel to the main circuit board. Did solve this problem, but then it stopped working again. But what I think we've got to do as well is clean the contacts behind these buttons, and that might solve the problem. Or it might just be that these units are just getting old now and they're not as reliable as they used to be. This is probably 25 years old now, something like that. Maybe a bit more. But it fully functions with the remote, so you know it's no big deal. We'll just keep the remote attached to this one. I think this remote only works with this unit of the ones I've got. So that's the MZ-N505, and I think I did a repair video on this, so I'll show you that. But it only seems to be a temporary repair on this. So I think there's more to repairing these than I might have shown you so far. Right, so we're getting close to the end now, you'll be pleased to know. So if you've got this far, today's 2 words in one go are strawberry fence post. So put strawberry fence post in the comments and you will get a heart. Thank you very much for sticking with it. Okay, we come on to something very special. I remember the video I did for this. This is the Panasonic SJ-MJ50, like the blue one. But this one came with speakers, so this one is the same as this one. So I've got 2 of these, very lucky to get 2 in pretty good condition. The speakers have slight dents in them, simply because people grip them and pull them out like that. Well, you should do it like that. So let's put a battery in this one again. and the disc. So as a player, it plays very well with the buttons on the back, and if you wanted to, you can connect it up to the dock. Just slide it into the dock and slide the that's the actual headphone jack that goes in, and then you can play it through the dock. I can't obviously play you much music, but you can play it through the dock. It's very tinny, but I have actually used this. I wanted to use it the other day and I took it in the bathroom with me while I had a shave. So the functions work on there as well. Obviously I can't play a lot of this music. And then on the side you've got various functions. You can put headphones in it, you can put your charger in it. So basically you can have it on charge all the time, stick it in the dock and use it. I used it just as a charger, so that if I slide that across, you can see that there pushes out the headphone jack. But I was using this one as my daily, I hate the phrase daily driver, but you all know what it means. And I'd have it on the desk, and when I'd finish walking around with it, I'd just slot it back in there like that. Wouldn't bother putting headphones in, and then it would charge the battery ready for next time. So a really nice unit. That's why I like to have it in the car, because if I do find myself away anywhere and I just want a player, something to play other than the phone when I'm in my room, then I've got one of these. Excuse me. I've got one of these with a battery all set up, and I think what I'm going to do, and I don't know whether I'll edit this piece out because I don't like to commit myself. I think what I'm going to do is use a couple of my players and go through every single function on the players, and this will be maybe the first or second video to do that. But those videos do take a lot of time because I have to actually read the manual to make sure I know all the functions. But yeah, very, very nice player. And if you take the time to go back to the first time I bought one of these, the video is sort of cut short once I've unboxed it, but my reaction, I think, it's really nice to look back at my reaction when I first saw that speaker system. And finally, we have a trio of MZ-N710s. There's a silver one, there's another silver one. This was one of the first ones, if not the first one I bought. So there'll be like a list of videos for these. Beautiful players. One is in slightly better condition than the other, but they all work. And I bought one and I liked it so much I thought, when I saw another one come up fairly cheaply, not quite such good condition, I bought a second one just in case the first one ever breaks. And then I went and found a blue one, which was my aspirator. Oh, it's a bit dusty. This, I had a picture of this up on the wall in my office as an aspirational picture, really. If ever I could afford a blue one in good condition, I would pay out, because I already had two. I don't really need a blue one, but I really wanted a blue one, so it was sort of an aspiration for me to earn a bit more money to be able to afford a blue one if one ever came up, and one did come up at a fairly decent price. So let's have a little demo of that one. And I think if I had to recommend players, I would recommend this one if you needed AA batteries, and I recommend this one if you're alright with the gumstick battery, because these are NDLP, so they'll do long play and standard play, and they're just beautiful players, beautiful recorders, but so lightweight that if this is the only recorder you ever need to buy, then I'm sure you'd be pretty happy with it. But they're getting up there in price now. But really nice. I've got a remote for this as well, so let's find that. I can't remember whether the remote is backlit. I don't think it is, but it's certainly got a display on it. I put them in little bags and put notes on them so I remember which player the remotes belong to. Otherwise I get a bit confused. There we go. So a lovely little remote for that. It does track titles and everything on the remote. Well, that's I can't remember how to go forward a track. It's that long since I used the remote control. There it is. yeah, it's a really nice player. Definitely worth picking one of these up if you haven't got one, or if this is your first entry into Minidisc. This is probably the one I'd recommend. I might do a video about that one day. One of these two. Really nice, but pretty up there in terms of price. So that's it. Thanks for sticking with me for that. I'm not sure how long this video will be once I've edited it down, but it's nice to go through all of my recorders and players, my portable ones. Which ones do you own? Which ones do you like? And which ones would you like to buy in the future? So thanks very much. I'll see you in the next video.